Alright, so you have an Axe CX Micro that looks like it's had a crash and broke both of the rotor blades and the inner main shaft too. I'm going to show you how to repair that, and it's a pretty simple process. You'll just need a couple of tools, a flathead screwdriver, you probably have one of these at home, a number 0 Phillips screwdriver. It's pretty small. There's a chance that you may have one for fixing like a pair of eyeglasses. If not, you can check your hobby shop or one of the local hardware stores. This is available there. Once again, it's a number 0 screwdriver. We'll need some new blades and a new inner rotor shaft as well. You can see the little pins on here are what broke off of that one. So to start the process, we just want to take the old rotor blades off. So we're going to take our screwdriver and we're just going to loosen this until the screw comes all the way out from the other rotor blade, like that. See, it's broken loose now. And we'll spin the helicopter around and just do the same to the other side. Now you'll have to reuse these screws. Whoops, see, it falls right off of there. You'll have to reuse these screws for the new blades, so you can just take them out carefully and set them aside. You might want to use a small towel or something when you're working on this to keep the screws and the screwdrivers from rolling away on the table. You'll have to remove the ball link here. Just give it a twist. It pops right out. You can set that aside. And then you want to get your screw out of this guy here and set it down. You can actually go right ahead and just put the screws back into the new blades. Just kind of get them inserted in there and started so they don't run away. And then you can do the same with the other and set them back aside. Alright, now we have to get the inner shaft out of the helicopter since it's broken. What we're going to do is turn the helicopter upside down. And you'll see these two screws here on this collar. So all we have to do is take our small screwdriver. After we rotate the shaft, you can do this by turning the fly bar to where you can access the screw from the side here. And you put our screwdriver on the screw. And we just loosen the screw a little bit. See, the one sticks out a little further than the other because there's a flat spot on the shaft. That keeps the gear from spinning. That screw's loose. Now we're going to turn it around so we can access the other screw here. This one's in further because of the flat spot. So we're going to loosen this one up, and the main shaft should, the inner shaft should just kind of come loose. And the gear's also going to be loose from the helicopter, so don't shake it too far. See how it's come loose? And then you just pull the main shaft out. Might catch a little on the end, and set it aside. And then just set the helicopter down so this doesn't fall out. It's not a big deal. You can always put it back in. It's just easier if you can keep it there. Now we have to remove the fly bar from the inner rotor shaft, as your new inner rotor shaft does not come with the fly bar as well. The method that I've been using for this, that is probably the easiest thing I can find, is to use the flat blade screwdriver. To sit it in here between the plastic and the fly bar and give it a little twist to kind of loosen up the plastic. Maybe flip it over and do the same here. Now you should be able to take the fly bar and kind of just roll it this way, and it should pop out of the socket. You may have to use a little bit of force. It's okay. You're not going to break the fly bar. If you happen to break any of these pieces on here, don't worry, because this is a piece you don't need anymore anyway. So I'll set that aside. Now let's go ahead and reinstall the fly bar into the main rotor shaft, the new one. To do that, just take the main rotor shaft, get the fly bar here. You'll see there's a little slot for that pin to go in. All right, you're going to take that and line it up in the center, and then just stand this up on end and give it a good push, and it just pops right into place. If you have trouble inserting it, take your screwdriver and just twist the ends, kind of like we did when we removed the fly bar, to make it a little bit easier to snug it in there. So now that the fly bar is back in place on the main shaft, we're ready to install the main shaft back onto the helicopter, the new main shaft. So you take it in this hand, and you're going to flip the helicopter over here, and you're going to put it back through the top of the outer shaft. That flat spot keeps the main gear from spinning around, so it's important that it lines up with the screws on the gear. So see how it's oriented here with the fly bar. I'll just push it through the outer shaft, and this little bearing might catch just a little bit. It's pushing through, but I'm trying to keep it straight. Now we're going to feed it through the gear on the bottom. Get everything lined up here. See, it's through the gear. And I've kept the fly bar straight. Now you got to rotate the gear so that the screw will hit the flat spot. See how the fly bar and the screw lined up? Now every one of these is a little bit different, so just keep track of where the fly bar is relative to the end. It's really easy to do, but this one just happened to be perfect. Now we have to tighten the screw down onto the main shaft. Alright, so now we got our small screwdriver, and we're just going to tighten this down. It doesn't have to be really tight. So that went pretty snug. Now you can grab the fly bar and turn it. If you've hit the flat spot, everything stays in place. If not, just loosen it again and turn it a little bit and maybe pull it out to reference where it's at. But you have to tighten this other screw down here too, after you get the first one in the flat spot all lined up. Now it's all set. Everything should work. If you can turn the top and see that the gear moves with the top, everything's working correctly. We're going to set the helicopter back down. All we have to do is put the main blades back on it, the new main blades. So we get the blade, and it has the screw hanging out, like we did earlier. And we're just going to stick it onto the pin here. Put that on there. Now we get the other blade and match the hole in the blade up with the pin on the main shaft. Just kind of slide it together. We have to jiggle it in there a little bit to get past the screws. Now grab this with your hand and make sure the blade's kind of lined up here where it's all square at the joint, and see where the screw is lined up with the little bump of plastic. That's where the screw goes in. You can take your small screwdriver. Okay. Now you're just going to tighten this down. Doesn't have to be very tight, just snug. Over tightening could kind of squeeze the plastic a little too much and make it easier to break. Now we're going to turn it around and get the other one on the other blade here. Once again, don't over tighten it. All right, we're just about finished. There's one last thing to do. That's to reattach the fly bar link to the small ball link here. You're going to take this small link and attach it. Just put it on the ball and give it a little bit of pressure, and it'll kind of snap in place. It's reattached. Everything's working well, and you're all set.